Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the Department of Education announced late last week that all schools on the island of St. Croix have been cleared for the students to return on Monday, October 6th. The remaining 6 elementary schools on the island of St. Croix reopened today with split sessions in store at the 3 new temporary locations across the island. Richard Dorsey reports.
With the remaining 6 schools now reopened on St. Croix, students and parents are happy to see some normality return on St. Croix. Acting Principal Moorhead for the Eulalie Rivera Elementary School spoke to News 2 and shared the positiveness that she's seen from her students and their parents.
It is exciting to be back in school. I saw the kids this morning. They were well dressed, prepared, and ready to be back. The parents are excited to have their children back in school, and it's going well so far. The department has done an excellent job in ensuring that our students are received comfortably. We had an opportunity to have our teachers meet with the teachers at the complex prior to the start of school, so that transition worked out really well. You know, it's getting darker earlier, so we'd like to make sure that parents are here on time at 4 o'clock to receive their children.
Ms. George Boone, Deputy Superintendent for the St. Croix District, spoke to News 2 about how the campus is hosting the multiple schools.
So we have on the academic side, we have our 9 through 12 in their instruction as usual, and students have an opportunity to still come to the CTEC to get their courses in the mid-morning. And then in the afternoon, for the afternoon session, we have the Arthur A. Junior High School for 7th and 8th, as well as our Kinder through 6th for the Eulalie Rivera School from in Grove. So this is an opportunity, as today we're rolling out our last 6 elementary schools. We do have the Lumuckle School with Ricardo Richards and the Henderson School with the Claudio Marco. And as you know, we rolled out others earlier. So here we are. This is our 3rd week, and our schools are all in.
Richard Dorsey, News 2.
Now, the Ricardo Richards Elementary School split sessions with the Lumuckle Elementary School at the Ricardo campus, and taking a look at the split sessions. Ricardo Richards students report for the morning session at 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and students of Lumuckle Elementary School will attend the afternoon session from 12:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. The Claudio Marco Elementary School and the Alexander Henderson Elementary School assumes a split session schedule for the Claudio Marco campus. Claudio Marco students will report for the morning session and the Alexander Henderson for the afternoon session. Eulalie Rivera Elementary School is on split session with the St. Croix Educational Complex and simultaneously with the Arthur Richards Junior High School at the SCEC campus. Eulalie Rivera students are housed on the 1st floor and the Arthur Richards students on the 2nd floor, both a part of the afternoon session. Alfredo Andrews Elementary School splits session with the Career and Technical Education Center opposite of the St. Croix Educational Complex. CTEC students report for the morning session aligned with the high school schedules, and students of the Alfredo Andrews School are attending the afternoon session. Well, the Office of the Insular Superintendent St. Thomas St. John District, they held a parent orientation for Lockhart Elementary School on Saturday. Parents received updates and information prior to the opening of school, which is slated for Wednesday. As you may remember, the Lockhart School was utilized as a shelter during Hurricanes Maria and Irma. Here's more.
The administration, faculty, and staff at Lockhart Elementary School are really excited about having our students back because they've been out for a long time. And in the meantime, we have been doing some really dedicated planning. I have met with my faculty and staff. We have done grade level meetings, we've done faculty meetings, and I have 2 to 3 weeks of lesson plans, solid lesson plans sitting on my desk. My faculty has not been twiddling their thumbs. I would just like, and I'm waiting for at this point, the school to be thoroughly cleaned and sanitized, all the areas that were used by the shelter. I have respectfully asked the fire department for assistance, and they are going to power wash all of our hallways when we're ready to get started. Before I came over to Charlotte Amalia this afternoon, I left the cleaners, VI cleaning services, in our classrooms, and I am really pleased at what I have seen so far because they are cleaning from the roof to the floor. Again, our teachers are just waiting for those areas to be completed, and we do have some other issues. As I was explaining a little bit earlier, we do have a sewage issue that, thank you, Superintendent Wells Hedrington, because I had a meeting with her and she immediately sent via Waste Management, and the Lou Henley Services were there yesterday evening. Waste Management was there this morning, and they are working really devotedly to see if they can find that problem and eliminate the problem. I was really thrilled to see the amount of parents that turned out this afternoon. I'm really glad they are ready to fully support Lockhart Elementary, and we are ready to be back. So, to our parents, Happy New Year. The 17-18 school year is going to be a tremendous one.
Be sure to count on 2. We will keep you updated. While the West Indian Company Dock and St. Thomas welcomed the Viking Sea, Waiko and tourism officials and even the captain of the Viking reaffirmed more cruises on the way and more recovery underway to get the VI back on track in order to welcome our visitors. Here's more. A keys and plaques ceremony was held on Sunday at the West Indian Company Dock on St. Thomas on board the MV Viking Sea. The small modern Scandinavian-designed cruise ship has a capacity of 930 passengers and a crew of 550.
It's my honor and my privilege to welcome the Viking Sea here to the port of Charlotte Amalie, to the West Indian Company. On behalf of my board of directors, the hard-working men and women of Waiko, we'd like to present to you this plaque so you can hang on the walls of your Viking Sea. And we just ask that you come back many, many, many more times.
It was a welcome sight for St. Thomas, as this is the second ship to return after the back-to-back 2 hurricanes hit Irma and Maria.
We are grateful to have you as one of the first set of ships to join us here in the U.S. Virgin Islands after our recent experience. So on behalf of our Governor, Kenneth E. Knapp, the United States Virgin Islands, our Commissioner of Tourism, we'd like to thank you and welcome you to St. Thomas.
But what was even more special was the fact that this was a maiden voyage. And according to Captain Gangdahl, it would not be the last.
St. Thomas is one of the best cruise ports to go to because you have a lot to offer, and it's of course myself and a lot of people on board here will come from the north, so it's nice to come down here for the temperature and the beaches and of course the experience what the island has to offer. And we are also in comparison now we are going to San Juan to change over passengers for a new cruise, so then it's a very convenient vacation for our final day before turnaround.
We're delighted to have the ships back. We couldn't be happier. We're delighted with our recovery, and we can't wait to move forward and have an awesome 17-18 cruise ship season.
Great. Everybody seems happy, and it's nice just to have tourists back on the island, and everyone is in good spirits, especially what the island's been through. It's great to see everybody coming together.
We did an island sightseeing tour today. Yeah. So we're just very grateful that the roads are open and that we can make our way around and that everyone has been so welcoming and the shops are open.
Honestly, it looks a little bit better than what I had seen on TV or on the web. But we can see that there's still a lot of work. But it's good to see that you're going to try. I know you need us to get back on your feet. And hopefully you're going to get more cruise ships soon and everybody will get back to normal.
Now, the Seaborn Odyssey, with a capacity of 450 passengers and crew of 335, that sailed into St. Thomas on Friday morning. On board was Clifford Graham, who's the president and CEO of Waiko, Rita Mayer, ship agent of Virgin Port Services, commander of the U.S. Coast Guard, Elizabeth Newton, best taxi, Nelsa Serrano, and Joyce Griffin-Dorr, Assistant Commissioner of Tourism, as well as Angela Payne, Tourism Director of Visitor Experience. Well, turning our attention to some crime reports, police are investigating a crash. They say on Sunday, November 5th at approximately 2:25 a.m., a vehicular homicide on Weymouth-Reimer Highway, St. Thomas occurred. One male individual and one female were in that vehicle. The male, 21-year-old Ralphie Jones Castillo, expired on the scene, and the female was transported to the Royal Leicester Schneider Hospital in stable condition. Preliminary investigation revealed that the vehicle was headed eastward when it went off the roadway in the area of New New Herrnhut and collided with a tree. Police added that the investigation is still ongoing. Also, the Virgin Islands Bureau of Corrections Director Mick Rawgrave stated, "As we continue to rebuild and recover, this is not the type of news I want to deliver." And he is referring to the news of the death of an inmate. Police say on Saturday, 911 Emergency Call Center received a request for assistance at 9:24 a.m. from the Golden Grove Correctional Facility reporting a man was down. Upon officers' arrival, they discovered a 25-year-old male who was identified as Samari O'Brien. Cause of death is unknown at this time until the medical examiner's autopsy. Director Mulgrave stated, "On behalf of the Bureau of Corrections, I extend my condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Samari O'Brien." A citizen reported to police that he was walking towards his vehicle when he was shoved from behind by an unknown person and then robbed on Saturday about 3:18 a.m. The victim stated that after he fell to the ground, he must have lost consciousness because he awoke to several residents standing over him. He said he later realized that his wallet was missing from his back pocket and a small amount of cash from his front pocket. He was transported to the Schneider Regional Medical Center via ambulance and was treated for a minor bruise to his right elbow and released. This case is presently under investigation by the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Any persons having information regarding this incident, you're asked to contact the Investigations Bureau at 340-774-2211. You can also contact 911 or Crime Stoppers VI at 1-800-222-TIPS. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, Food and Nutrition Service, they recently approved millions of dollars to provide Virgin Island residents with food assistance. For many Virgin Islanders, the DSNAP could alleviate economic stress, but residents endured long lines and inclement weather, they say, just to get to the application process. NEWS2 Stephanie Brown reports.
The Disaster Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program was rolled out in the Virgin Islands today. An estimated $23 million has been approved to provide emergency food assistance to reportedly 38,000 Virgin Islands residents.
DHS wants everyone to come out and apply, but not to sit back and say that because of this or because of that, you won't be able to qualify.
Initially, the DSNAP program was scheduled to roll out on October 16th. However, Governor Mapp stated in a news briefing that the program would be delayed.
After doing an analysis, the feds believe that it's a little bit early and that we should push it back. Give all these linemen that are coming in to the community, power is going to start showing up in neighborhoods. People will have access to their refrigerators. They'll be able to get cold juices, milk, stuff like that in their home.
Residents seeking some relief through the program reportedly had 3 to 6 hour wait times between waiting in lines and getting through the application process.
And clearly today is a day of lessons learned. People have been standing in the sun and folks are thirsty and they're tired and it just rained, so people got wet. And so I'm hoping that tonight the people in charge are going to sit down and they are going to be debriefed and are going to find ways in which they can enhance the experience for the applicants.
It's been more than a month since the Virgin Islands experienced the impact of 2 Category 5 hurricanes, and many residents have incurred more costs running generators and purchasing non-bulk food items.
My family is 3, and I will spend like $25 to $30 a day on food. Meat, beans, rice is normally what we eat, and salad.
For NEWS2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Now, registration sites for the DSNAP program are as follows. The Department of Human Services Mars Hill headquarters in Frederiksted, that's on St. Croix. The Cardiac Center at the Juan F. Louis Hospital. The Richmond Senior Center on St. Thomas, Newt Hansen Complex, University of the Virgin Islands, Frenchtown Evangelical Church, Tutu Park Mall, and on St. John, Department of Human Services Multi-Purpose Building. Attorney General Claude Walker has joined with 17 of his counterparts from across the country in letters to 15 healthcare companies that provide pharmacy benefit management services, or PBM, encouraging the companies to implement programs to mitigate prescription opioid abuse. Now, the Attorney General also sent letters to the President and CEO of CVS Health Corporation applauding the company's recent program that automatically enrolled all commercial, health plan, employer, and Medicaid clients in an opioid abuse mitigation program. Although the territory has not experienced the opioid epidemic, A.G. Walker says he strongly believes taking a proactive approach may help to stimulate the potential opioid crisis. The CVS policy includes limiting to 7 days the supply of opioids dispensed and the dosage for certain prescriptions for patients who are using opioids for the first time, which will help to prevent addiction. The opioid epidemic is the most pressing public health crisis in our country, the Attorney General wrote. It affects every state and has a devastating impact on communities, tearing apart families and stretching the budgets of local law enforcement and first responders as they do the difficult work on the front lines. Opioids, both prescription and illicit, are now the main driver of drug overdose deaths nationwide. According to the CDC, opioids were involved in 33,091 deaths in 2015, and opioid overdoses have quadrupled, they say, since 1999. Well, a gunman dressed all in black, wearing a tactical gear, including a bulletproof vest, walked into a church in a small Texas church on Sunday and opened fire as the congregation were involved in a weekly service, leaving at least 26 dead and about 20 injured. The mass shooting occurred at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, about 30 miles from San Antonio, with President Donald Trump denouncing it as an act of evil. The victims ranged in age from 5 to 72, according to police. Among the dead is the 14-year-old daughter of the First Baptist Church's pastor, Frank Pomeroy. According to his wife, Sherry Pomeroy, the girl's mother, the couple were traveling out of state when that shooting occurred. Authorities have not said what may have motivated the suspected shooter, who was later found dead in his vehicle. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers, everything up. The Dow 9, NASDAQ 22, S&P 500 up 3. Coming up on NEWS2, some batteries were distributed over the weekend, and we have your Whopper restoration update. That and more coming up next. Welcome back. WAPA's restoration work continued today, Monday. On St. Croix, crews continued work in Hatter's Rest, Frederickstead Town, as well as Christiansted. On St. John, crews worked in the Fish Bay area along the North Shore Road and from Bellevue to Gift Hill School. And on St. Thomas, crews worked along Frenchman's Bay Road toward Buckaroo and Margaritaville, and in the estates Mandal and Windberg areas. Here's John Greer with more on the restoration efforts.
Croix Friday, crews working on Feeder 1A in downtown Christiansted energized from Hospital Street to the VI Police Department's Marine Base, Hotel on the Quay, and Bryan's Marina. On Feeder 2A, reconstruction of primary circuits continued along Gallows Bay Road toward Pearl B. Larson Elementary School and from the Canagata Ballpark toward Recovery Hill. Crews commenced work on Feeder 3A, while on Feeder 4A, residences in Golden Rock and a federal courthouse were energized. On Feeder 5A, crews energized residences and businesses in estates Ruby, Sunny Acres, the Joseph E. James Home for the Elderly, and the Department of Finance. Primary circuits were also energized, as were customers in estate Mary's Fancy. On St. John, crews worked from the Department of Public Works toward Bellevue. Customers in the Peter Bay area, as well as the Gallows Point Resort, were restored. Work continued in the Grunwald area on Feeder 9E. On St. Thomas, crews continued work on circuits from Windberg and Mandal to the Yvonne Bowski Elementary School on Feeder 9C. Customers on portions of Feeder 7C in Annis Retreat in the area of Camarina Circle were energized. On Feeder 7D, the Ivana Yodora High School, as well as the offices of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, have been readied for connection to the electrical grid. On Feeder 9D from Friedenhoy to Nadar, crews will make technical adjustments to three-phase power lines, which will involve a service interruption on Sunday. Crews began work on Friday to energize gas stations and streetlights in both Bovoni and Nada.
Thanks for that, John. Well, more bins are slated to be on the way to alleviate the trash heaps. Debris removal continues. Remember, when you go to the garbage bins, remember to separate the garbage. Here's what you need to know for a smoother transition.
We had an initiative that was initiated to keep the East End Eudorican site clean and separated. We did it because all of the bin sites are overwhelmed, and the dump site, of course, everybody knows the mountain is overwhelmed. The progress is going very well because now that we have a monitor on site, everybody's not coming and just dumping all of the garbage on top of the vegetation, what you see over there, which is all brush, which is branches, trees, leaves, and stuff like that. Then we have metal, which is galvanized roofs. And you know we have a lot of roofs that are on the floor all over the island, right? Then we have C&D, which is construction and demolition. And that means anything that's in your house that could have got messed up in a hurricane, we is taking that as well. We might have to put up signs to show them where and which section to dump it in. You have metal, you have vegetation, and you have C&D. Then you have all your garbage, okay? And then we have white goods all the way in the back, which is anything electronic like fridges, stoves, anything that plugs in, microwaves, iron, stuff like that.
We need really the cooperation of everybody on this island so this thing could be a success, and it is very easy to do. All we need is for them to come in. We're going to try to get it sorted out where we can have the monitor and the assistant to be able to help them. We have actually been here right now, actually, as you could tell, taking the trash out of the folks' car and taking it and putting it into the bin. It's just a service to help them to get out so we could keep here clear, because the National Guard, Army, and the other companies is here coming through here.
Well, volunteers provided both C and D batteries to several communities on St. Croix over the weekend. A relief group entitled VI Strong Packs. They've teamed up with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to receive tax-deductible donations to assist the Virgin Islands in its recovery from Irma and Maria. NEWS2 caught up with a team of volunteers making distributions.
So today we're out distributing batteries for St. Croix. We spent the morning out in Frederickstead across from Coconuts. We did about 1,200 people there and about 30,000 batteries. Today we're now here at a state profit by the ballpark. So we work with a team up in Tennessee called VI Strong Packs, and they sent this down to VIR3, which is Virgin Islands Relief, Recover, Rebuild. We're a nonprofit here. Check us out on Facebook, donate, keep the donations and the help coming. We'll take volunteers at any point. And we'll be distributing things like batteries, ice, water, food. We did a bunch of the local community centers yesterday. We distributed to about 4,000 people.
Well, what a great initiative there. Well, the Virgin Islands Association of Washington, D.C., they raised funds and collected hurricane relief items, which were distributed by the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority in collaboration with VIA, and we shared that last week. The Department of Education and Sports, Parks and Recreation, as well as the VIPD at the Castleburg Homes Community Center on Saturday. At that area, residents received many items: water, baby and adult diapers, toiletries, and some canned foods. The need of the community was very strong as supplies were depleted within an hour. However, all the partners were happy that they were able to serve the community. Here's more.
Well, today we did a distribution on behalf of the Virgin Islands Association in Washington, D.C. They have done several hurricane relief drives in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, and they sent the supplies down and they made contact with us, the Mu Gamma Omega chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And basically, we had this distribution today at the Castleberg Community Center. I think it went very well. It was very organized. We had our bags pre-packed. We issued numbers to ensure that everyone in line would be able to receive something that was sent to them from DC. And so I think most persons were pleased and satisfied with how fast everything was distributed. And basically, we are just happy to assist our brothers and sisters in DC who saw it fit to undertake this initiative for us here in the Virgin Islands.
Great donation there. Now, the Red Cross, as we know, has always been around in difficult times, sharing, lending a hand. Well, this weekend, they were out sharing some tarps. Here's more on that initiative.
We're here to provide food and whatever health, if some people have health issues, we try to report it and find help for them, medicines, whatever they need. We don't supply it, but we try to help them out and get it. But right now, me and Rachel, we're out here just delivering food to the people, trying to get to the locals. Today we've been doing this whole neighborhood here, church, every street. We're just out here every day, me and my partner here, and trying to help the people.
And thanks for lending a hand there, tarps and other well-needed items. Well, stick around. We have much more straight ahead. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
We have had some extra showers and thunderstorms in the area. The satellite loop here, this is the water vapor form of that, shows some extra moisture in the area, kind of streaming in from the southwest. So that has produced some extra showers and thunderstorms. In fact, there's been a lot of lightning with a few of the heavier thunderstorms out in northwestern parts of Puerto Rico. But we're not exempt here in the Virgin Islands either. By the way, I do want to point out Tropical Depression 19 strengthening, possibly becoming a tropical storm this evening or tonight. But when it comes to the satellite loop locally, by the way, that disturbance is not going to impact us. We just have some agitated weather from a less organized batch of moisture. Here is the satellite loop showing that a lot of this has been a little more intense to our north and west in recent hours, but still there are some showers in the area, and that's the case tonight as well. 76 for your low. Partly cloudy between the showers, but there will be intervals of some wet weather. We have some thunderstorms in the forecast as well. 85 degrees tomorrow, partly sunny in between these thunderstorms and showers. And we have a little bit of extra lightning in the St. Thomas forecast as well. 85 with intervals of clouds and sun. But the sun will be limited and the clouds will be more widespread. Those thunderstorms will be a little disruptive at times into St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix. Nobody's exempt from the chance of rain and some thunderstorms with this particular weather pattern. The waves on the Atlantic side, by the way, are a little bit larger tonight, tomorrow, and into tomorrow evening as well. 3 to 5 footers are rolling around out there. The active trade winds continue at 10 to 15 knots. And into the Caribbean side, 2 to 4 footers, just a little bit smaller, but it still is a little bit choppy at times. So we have some thunderstorms in the forecast for the next few days with this disturbance in the neighborhood. We don't expect to see anything too damaging out of this, but there will be some frequent showers, and that's a little bit of a curveball for the utility crews who are still working to restore power to more and more folks. Heavy showers increase into Saturday yet again. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that. Time for a News 2 weather picture there by Jaden McTorian. Seeing that we have some wet weather to look forward to, but according to Jaden's picture, lots of sunshine and clouds representing the E. Benjamin Oliver Elementary School. Jaden, thank you for that. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. We have much more straight ahead. News 2 Sports comes your way next.